Hello everyone, this is Mr. Fitri bringing you math today. For our first semester or term, we are going to be focused on transformations. Okay? Now there are several types of transformations, but we are going to focus on three in particular: translation, rotation, and reflection. Okay? Before we begin looking at those three, though, let us first understand what a transformation is. Okay. Now, our transformation section begins on page 110 in our textbooks. So, if you have your textbook, please open up to that page because we will be looking at a few examples. And let me first also say that this might be a bit hard to wrap our heads around online. I'll do my best, but it would be easier in the classroom. So I hope that as we move forward with these lessons, we'll be able to piece it together to make it more understandable. So bear with me as we move forward. So a transformation is a one-to-one correspondence between points in a plane. Every point corresponds to a movement of a similar manner. Okay? Now again, let's put up our examples here. Now, this definition is quite clunky, let's say. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, simply put, a transformation is the movement of an object on a grid. Okay? So here I've put a grid up and two rectangles, A and B. All right? Simply put, all right, the movement of A to B qualifies as a transformation. Okay? As we will continue to learn here, each point is moving in a specific direction or a specific distance depending on what type of transformation it is undergoing. Okay? Now I know this may not be clear right now, but as we move forward, we will see how a transformation occurs in translation form, rotation, or reflection. Now, let's open our textbooks to page 111. Towards the middle of the page, you'll see a box there labeled Example 1. We need to determine whether each of the following is a transformation. Okay? So let's look at A. It says every point of a triangle is moved through the same distance in the same direction. So, yes or no, is that a transformation? If you said yes, you would be correct. All right? The important thing to look at here is that every point is moving in the same direction and the same distance. Okay? That makes it a transformation. B, the movement of M to N. Okay? Yeah, yes, we don't have a grid here, but just by looking at the picture, we can tell that this is a transformation. Okay? The object is moving, right? It appears appears to be the same distance and the same direction. All right. The critical thing to note here is the shape is not changing. Now this is in contrast to C, the movement of P to Q. Okay? This is not a transformation because the triangle P changes both shape and moves in a different direction. Okay? Q appears to be bigger than P, which means that one point or more has moved a greater distance, but also that the angle has moved. It seems to have spun a little bit. All right, so that is not a transformation. Okay. Okay, let's look at a couple examples here. First one, I want to point out a few things here. So we've obviously got two triangles here, okay? The triangle at the top has 3 points, 3 corners, and they are labeled A, B, and C. All right, I've highlighted them in blue. All right, these are the points that are going to be moving on the grid. And if it's a proper translation, a proper transformation, they will be moving the same distance and the same direction. Okay? So that's our object. How do we know, though? Well, there's 2 things in this picture that help us determine which is the object and which is the image. First of all, the arrow, which is highlighted in purple. Here we have another one. Okay? Now, we don't have a triangle, but we do have one of those other indications. All right? Again, I have highlighted it in red. So we know that the top triangle is the image because at the points A, B, and C, we have that little apostrophe next to them, that little notch next to them, which means that triangle A is moving to where triangle B is. Okay? Now, let's turn to page 112 in your textbook. Again, towards the middle or bottom of the page is the subheading there, Test Yourself. Test yourself. Now, let's look at number 1. We have to determine whether each of the following is a transformation. Okay, we're going to skip A. I want to just look at the image. These will be a little easier to understand virtually. So B, the movement of R to S. Do you think that is a transformation or not? If you said yes, you would be correct, okay? It is clear that R is moving to S, okay? R would be our object, S would be our image, and that it is not changing directions or changing distance. It is the same shape, all right? Now, let's look at C, the movement of Q to P. Okay, Q again is our object because it is moving, as you can see, from the arrow to location P. Now, is this a transformation? If you said no, you would be correct, all right? It is clear that through that transformation, it has changed shapes, okay? P is a square, Q is not, okay? It is clear that that bottom right corner of Q has moved a greater distance than the other 3 points. So that is not a transformation. Now, last piece before we finish, let's look at the section 2 under Test Yourself. We have to state the object and the image in each of the following transformations, okay? Now, don't worry if this is a transformation or not, okay? Just tell me which is the object, which is the image, and I would like you to write this in your book, okay? So let's look at A. K to L. Which is the object? Which is the image? Okay. Again, using that arrow, we know that K is the object, L is the image. Let's look at B. What do you think? If you said N is the object and M is the image, you would be correct. Okay? Again, that arrow points from N to M. Okay? Let's look at C. Okay. Q to P. Which is the object? Which is the image? Okay, Q is the object, P is the image. Finally, D, which is which? If you said R is the object and S is the image, you would be correct. All right? So, I know that this perhaps is a little confusing or unclear, but the next class will hopefully make these lessons a little bit more clear as we move forward. Again, it would be a lot easier if we could work on the board, work together, but we have to make do with what we've got. Okay? So, good luck and thank you very much.